Stop before buying that next piece of RV gear for your rig. I'm exposing the overhyped, overpriced, and totally unnecessary RV equipment that you're told to buy by your dealer, by other YouTubers, and maybe even your spouse, or in my case, my wife. Whether you're a weekend warrior, a full-timer, or just a long-termer, this video is for you. I'm going to show you 5 items that we purchased that we either don't need or don't use, or we're convinced we needed and don't use. So hold on, let's get started. Here we go. The first item we're going to talk about is the Blackstone. The Blackstone. There was a time every video YouTuber and every RV dealer and everybody in the country said you had to buy a Blackstone to go RVing. No, you don't need one. Let me tell you the problems with it. Number one, it's heavy, and you got to lift it in and out of the trailer. And I'm getting into my late 60s. It's just getting harder and harder to handle. Even though it does come apart in 2 pieces, it's hard to handle. It's also hard to get level. And I get, I'm going to make eggs or something, and all the eggs run into the corner. I work on getting it level, and we just don't have a good, stable environment when we're camping sometimes to make it level. In my case, I have a short cord I hook up to the trailer, so I only have 4 or 5 feet that I can move it, and it's just tough to get level. And no matter how much I clean it, it's dirty, it's greasy. No matter, I do my best to get it clean, and I go to pick it up, and I got grease on my hands and my shirt. It's just dirty. And the other thing, I'm coming to find out after 3 or 4 years, you got to do a major maintenance on it. The coating that you work so hard to make with the oil and the heat, it starts flaking off. And then you expose the bare steel and it tries to rust. And then it compounds itself. Your food now is not clean. It's got a little charcoal, looks like dirt in it. It tastes okay. And then it starts rusting. So then you have to go through and completely sand it down and re-season it. And it's just a pain in the rear. And sometimes too much maintenance and too much of a headache makes it not worthwhile. The price is coming down, I'll give them that. But anyway, this is one thing that we're really considering not going back on the road with in the near future. And I'd really reevaluate spending my money on it just to go RVing. The solo stove, we're not leaving it home. It just does not have a good place in the way we camp. Every campsite we go to has a fire ring, so we can cook our hot dogs or hamburgers or steaks or baked potatoes over it. And the solo stove has become unnecessary. It's big, it's bulky. If you bring your own wood, your own firewood, some of the state parks around here don't want you bringing it in for disease. So then you got to buy firewood. That's an additional expense. And in the summertime when it's hot, you don't want to be slaving over this thing. Believe me, it's just not it. It's a good thing for your backyard, not for your campsite. The other thing I'd advise against buying or taking with you is a generator. Unless you're really serious about going boondocking, you do not need a generator. When we bought our Grand Design pull trailer, they convinced us to buy this because we said one bad word, boondocking. And the guy says, well, if you're going boondocking, you got to have a generator. Well, after 4 years, you know what? We haven't been boondocking. We thought we wanted to go boondocking, and we probably will go boondocking, but after 4 years, I've taken this out twice with us. We've never used it camping. It weighs about 100 pounds, and it takes up a lot of space. And if it hadn't been for that RV dealer convincing us that we needed it, because we had to get the big one because he had to run the air conditioner because we're going to go boondocking, we wouldn't have bought it. And we haven't used it. And I'm not saying we won't use it in the future, but right now, it was an extra $1,000 expense that we didn't need to have. So throw this off the list, especially if you're going to campgrounds with full hookups, which primarily is what we've been doing, or hookups with water and gas. So save your money, save your $1,000. Go buy something more enjoyable for the campsite rather than a generator. The other thing, which I'm severely disappointed in, is this keyed entrance lock. The problem is these numbers have all come off, and the battery lasts 6 months at the max. So the numbers come off, and granted, it's pretty simple, but it's just the looks. It looks bad, and it doesn't function correctly. If you got to replace batteries every 6 months, they said 2 years. Baloney, that didn't work. That didn't work at all. And the numbers come off. It's just something, and plus we have a dog. And when we're at the campsite, we leave it unlocked and put a little sign up says, we have a dog, and I put our phone number in the window. And that way, if something happens, somebody can call me. If somebody tries to break in, believe me, Mocha's gonna bark at them and then lick them, but they don't know that. They don't know, bark's worse than the bite in his case. But he's a big dog. He's a chocolate lab, and he's going to protect the RV anyway. So this key remote, this key entrance lock, it has not panned out the way we thought it was going to. It was about $150 at the time we bought it, and it's just not worth it. When I want to lock it up, a key works just fine. And our dogs, say my dog stays in the trailer when it's hot anyway. So there's our protection. And the third thing I'm going to talk about is we have Connect 10 internet. After 2 years with Connect 10, it's a cellular-based internet provider. It's a hassle. Every time we switch campsites, it never comes online. I have to get on their chat thing on my phone and say, hey, Chuck Lawrence at hotmail.com, my internet's not working, I'm out camping, blah, blah, blah. And they say, okay, within 10 or 15 minutes, it's fixed. And it's just the inconvenience of doing it that way. And everywhere we've been, we pretty much we have T-Mobile. We've had T-Mobile connections anyway, so we're able to do basic things on the internet. And we have a over-the-air TV. We've gotten TV channels everywhere we go for free. Now, granted, we don't get to pick out what you want to watch, but at $130, $140 a month, that just seems like an awful lot of money to pay for internet when it just hasn't met our needs. And we've already switched to Starlink, and I'll have another video on Starlink. But the Connect 10 internet service we have, it does work. Don't get me wrong. It's inconvenient. It's reliable, but it's just kind of a pain when you got to contact them all the time. And sometimes, even on a campsite, I'll have to contact them a couple times to have them switch carriers or switch bands, which I don't quite understand that, but that's just the way it is. So that Connect 10 internet is something I would not recommend on a go-forward basis. And again, we'll have an update on our Starlink. So anyway, those are the 5 things that we have bought that we either don't use, unnecessary, big and bulky, and they're items that I think were overpriced and overhyped by the community or the dealer, YouTubers, other campers. When you go around a campsite, you don't see very many Blackstones anymore. You don't see very many solo stoves. You don't see anybody carrying generators. So why did we get convinced to do all that? So anyway, that's my video. I think I'm going to wrap it up here. If you like what you saw, give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. And if you like videos like this, please subscribe. Again, I'm getting into my late 60s. Ooh, that sounds horrible. Getting into my late 60s and doing this YouTube thing. We'll see if it works out. If it doesn't, well, we'll keep on doing it. At least my grandkids will have something to watch. So anyway, y'all take care now. Till we meet around the campfire. Bye-bye.